Close your eyes for a second and try to remember July 15th, 2016. The world back then, it was loud, it was digital, it was fast. But on that specific Friday morning, something strange happened. A quiet, low-frequency static began to hum through our screens. It didn't feel like a new Netflix release. It felt like a ghost coming home. Think about it. There were no massive billboards in Times Square, no superstar actors leading the charge, just a flickering red logo and a sound, dun, 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 a pulse that felt less like music and more like a heartbeat from a world we thought we'd left behind in the attic. Within 48 hours, the internet didn't just watch Stranger Things, it lived in it. We weren't just curious about a missing boy named Will Byers, we were suddenly homesick. Homesick for wood-paneled basements we never actually had, longing for D&D games we never played. This is the story of a heist, a psychological heist. It's the story of how two brothers from North Carolina figured out how to hack our collective memory, steal our childhoods, and sell them back to us as a masterpiece. Welcome to the nostalgia trap. To understand how they did it, we have to look past the monsters. We have to look at the why. Why does a rotary phone feel more real to us than the smartphone in your pocket right now? And how did they turn our own memories into a weapon? Every story has a father. For Stranger Things, there were two, Steven Spielberg and Stephen King. But the Duffer Brothers didn't just copy them, no, they invited them into our subconscious. They used something called visual shorthand. Think about the American suburb. To Spielberg, it was a place of fragile peace. He taught us that the most terrifying things don't happen in haunted castles on a hill. They happen in your kitchen while you're eating breakfast. That is the why behind Hawkins. It looks safe, it looks like home, and that is exactly why it's so easy to invade. And then they gave us the bikes. Why are the bikes so important? Because in the 80s, your bike wasn't just a toy, it was your soul. It was the only thing that stood between you and the rules of your parents. It was freedom on two wheels. When we see those kids riding through the mist, we aren't just watching actors, we're watching our younger selves. The show forces us to remember the weight of a flashlight in our hands, the feeling that as long as we had our friends, we were invincible, even against a government conspiracy. But then they gave us the rot. He showed us that under those perfect Indiana lawns, there is something hungry. The why of the Upside Down isn't just sci-fi. It's a metaphor for the secrets every small town buries in its backyard. It's the dark mirror. We are drawn to it because it represents the decay of our own memories. It's the 80s we remember, but stripped of the light, leaving only the skeletons and the vines.
We live in a world of smoothness now. Everything is a touchscreen. It's glass. It's silent. But the human brain? The human brain isn't digital. It's analog. We crave the clunk. We crave the snap. Every sound in Stranger Things is a trap. When you hear the hiss of a walkie-talkie or the click of a heavy beige button on a tape recorder, your brain does something called sensory grounding. You don't just hear it, you feel the plastic texture in your mind. It makes the impossible feel possible. And then there's the mall, Starcourt. For many of us, that wasn't just a set, it was a cathedral of identity. In the 80s, who you were was defined by which store you stood in front of. By recreating that, the show gives us back our labels. It uses brands, New Coke, Eggo waffles, Casio watches as memory anchors. Think about the Eggos. Why did a frozen waffle become a global icon? Because it represents innocence sustained. 11, a girl who was tortured, broken, and hunted, finds her only comfort in a processed yellow piece of the American dream. She clings to it, and because she clings to it, so do we.
The most dangerous part of the trap, though, it isn't what you see, it's what you hear. Before this show, TV music was meant to be invisible. Strings, pianos, orchestras. But the Duffers, they wanted you to feel the electricity. They used analog synthesizers, and the why here is fascinating. In the actual 80s, these machines represented the future. But to us, in the 2020s, they represent the lost future. When those neon notes hit, we are caught in a time paradox. We're feeling nostalgia for a version of tomorrow that never actually showed up. Analog synths have something called pitch drift. They are slightly out of tune, slightly broken. This creates a subconscious feeling of dread. It's the sound of a world tilting off its axis. It makes you feel uneasy without ever showing you a drop of blood. And then there was Max and Kate Bush. Why did a 40-year-old song save the summer of 2022? Because the show turned a melody into a lifeline. It taught a new generation that our favorite songs aren't just entertainment, they are spells. They are the things we use to climb out of our own darkness. It proved that music is the only thing that can travel between dimensions. It's the only thing that stays with us when the basement is finally packed away.
But look, a trap only works if you want to stay inside it. And we stayed because the people felt real. If they were just tropes, we would have stopped watching years ago. But the Duffers did something brilliant. They took our 80s stereotypes and they forced them to grow up. Take Steve Harrington. In any other 1984 movie, Steve is the villain. He's the jerk jock who gets humiliated in the third act. But in this story, he becomes the mother. He becomes the protector of the very nerds he used to bully. The why of Steve is subversion. By taking a character we thought we knew and making him better, the show creates a new memory. It rewards our nostalgia, but it demands our growth. It reminds us that while the 80s were about who we wanted to be, the real world is about who we choose to be when the lights go out.
We are standing at the edge now. Season 5 is coming, and with it, the 80s will finally, truly be over. The nostalgia trap is about to be sprung. And we're starting to realize that the show wasn't just about the past. It was about saying goodbye to it. Stranger Things is a mourning ritual. It's a way for us to process the fact that we can never go back to the basement. We can't go back to the bikes. But as long as we have the story, maybe we don't have to leave entirely. So I have to ask you, what was the moment the trap caught you? Was it the first time you heard that theme? The first time you saw the Christmas lights flicker? Tell me your story in the comments. I actually want to read them. And if you're ready to keep exploring the mysteries of the screen, stay with us. The party is just getting started. I'll see you in the Upside Down. Goodbye for now.
This is The Hidden Script. We analyze the psychology, philosophy, and warnings hidden in your favorite films and characters. Let's begin.